The Amateur is a movie starring Rami Malik, who is a CIA decoder whose wife is tragically killed in a terrorist attack, and he takes actions into his own hands to get justice. The movie has an A-list cast with Lawrence Fishburne and John Berthal being a few names, but there's going to be a lot of times where you're watching this movie, you're going to be like, hey, wait, I've seen that person before. With one of those people being Rachel Brosnahan, who's actually playing Lois Lane in the new Superman movie. Her character in this movie is Rami Malek's wife, who I will say they have an amazing chemistry. They start off a good portion of this film with their back and forth in their day-to-day lives at their home, and you believe it. I mean, they do a good job of selling their love for each other. So this movie classifies itself as a spy thriller, and it does a good job of adding new things to the genre, but still having those classic moments you would see in a Jason Bourne film. I viewed this movie through the lens of it was like a hitman mission where you're trying to take out your target in the most interesting way. And if you shave Rami Malek's head and you put a barcode on the back of his head, you would get a hitman movie in some scenes. Now, when it comes down to it, they did a lot of locations in this film, like any spy movie should, and they were beautiful. Probably the best parts of the movie were the different destinations Rami Malek was going to and the different targets he had to take out of. It was cool, and they did a lot of scenery shots to kind of build that city that he was infiltrating. I enjoyed the premise. It is a slow burn at first. I know some of these spy thrillers start off as a slow burn, not most of them, but it keeps it interesting. The chemistry carries it through that first portion of the film, but once a flip is switched, things start to pick up. But my only complaint with this movie is the pacing. I mean, most of these spy thrillers, they have that switch flip, and then it's a slow increase and build up to the finale. When this one, it felt like it bobbed and weaved. You know, there was thrilling parts and then a lot of setup. Thrilling parts and a lot of setup. And I understand you need that because he is an amateur. Not really what I was expecting going into it, but it doesn't ruin the film. I will say, I think this movie's a better experience without seeing the trailer. It's one of those where I think the trailer showed a little bit too much. Going into it, I had seen the trailer. My best friend Riley had not. And he rated the movie way higher than I did because a lot of the scenes surprised him. When for me, I had seen the trailer and a lot of the major eliminations, the target eliminations, were kind of spoiled in that trailer. Which, again, I feel like is just a fault with Hollywood a lot, where they're putting out these trailers and giving too much away to make the trailer interesting, when you should make a film to where you can show interesting parts, but still have surprises within the film. With that being said, there is a very solid lead up to the first target elimination, where you're seeing Rami Malek just be an amateur, you know, to the title card. And he's fumbling things. He's looking up YouTube videos. It's really funny, and he's kind of trying to use his skill set to take this person out or get information, but none of it is working. And he kind of gets lucky, not to have any spoilers, but that was great. And from that point on, it did a really good job of showing him slowly increasing his skill set and utilizing his skills for his type of style of spy. But with that being said, I don't think there was enough targets in this movie. They spoiled most of them in the trailer, and it would have been nice to have at least one or two more where you get to see him use that skill set, and maybe again have that time in the beginning where there's space in between him learning, and as we closer to the finale, it gets shorter and shorter because he doesn't need as much prep time because he's becoming better at it. And I will say there are characters who are not used as much as they should be. They could have easily replaced some one-note characters to have some ongoing actors show their face throughout the film, to build relationships, to have some betrayals, or have some trust build with Rami's character. But it just wasn't there, and I think that's what took it down another notch for me when it comes to spy thriller. Because that's what spy movies are about. It's about betrayals, it's about beautiful women, and it's about our character being down in the dumps and finding their way out and getting that win and getting the mission completed. That's something the Mission Impossible movies do really well, and that's something the Bourne franchise does decently through some of those movies. For me, it comes down to the slowing of pace in between each target. Again, I think you build that in the beginning, and then as it gets longer into the movie, he becomes more experienced. But overall, I just think this movie was so close to being what they envisioned, but it barely hit the mark for me. Overall, I think this movie is a great addition to the genre, but needed a little more time in the editing room to cook and utilize your stars a little bit more. And with that, I'm going to give The Amateur a 5 out of 10. So close to being a theater recommendation, but I will sadly say to wait for this one on streaming. But what did you guys think? Have you seen The Amateur? Let me know your thoughts below. We got a lot of great movies coming out, you guys. I'm going to be doing an early review of The Accountant 2, so make sure to turn your notifications on so you don't miss out on that upload. I'm also going to be reviewing Sinners later this week. Super excited for that film. So again, make sure to subscribe and like so that you don't miss out on any content. But that's going to be it for me today, you guys. My name is Ben James, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace!